Hey everyone, we're down here on day 73 of 100. We're starting the 73rd day, and we're down here with Madalen, who works for the Coral Restoration Foundation. And hey, tell me a little bit about how you got into working with CRF.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really great story, and it's pretty relevant for today. It's close to Mother's Day. My mom is really the reason that I got into marine science. She was also a marine scientist, studied it back in the 1980s, and she actually lived in HydroLab for a full week during her undergrad.
Wait. You're from Tennessee.
I'm from Tennessee. Yeah. So,
that does not work. There's no water there, right?
Interesting pathway. Yeah. No water.
What
Well, there's a
happened
lot of
was-
lakes and rivers.
Yeah.
So I guess I could eventually find my way down, the Mississippi and get here. But yeah, it was my mom ended up after this time in the ocean and staying in HydroLab and having these really amazing experiences. She actually became a teacher for most of my life.
Oh.
And so that is how we ended up in Tennessee. And it was just hearing all of her stories of these amazing adventures, of the research that she was a part of, really inspired me to want to pursue marine science. I ended up getting my degree in marine biology in Charleston, South Carolina, and then of course had to make my way to Florida's Coral Reef because
On account of it's Florida.
Exactly. And I actually, my very first position out of my undergraduate degree was with Marine Resources Development Foundation.
Wait, shut up.
Yes.
You worked here.
Yes. 4 years, actually.
Oh, you are going to heaven. Because
Oh,
those kids, I love them, but I only get to see them this long. I could not do that all day. No.
Thank you so much. I love that I was able to be a part of so many people's sort of journeys into either finding out that they hate science and they're like, no, I'm going to do something else.
Not my jam.
Or, of course, seeing them be like, this is absolutely what I want to do. I just loved that. Yeah.
So the interesting part is, I am not a marine scientist by training, and the reason being is because I had a poo head of a marine science instructor at the University of South Carolina, just in case you're still teaching. And he yelled at me in class, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to do it. But think about all the kids that you have influenced, smile, wonderful, talk to them about science in a good way and not yelling at them and screaming at them and making it about misery and ugliness. And you have so much influence over kids.
Absolutely.
And then they grow up and they're like, yeah, the reason I'm in marine science is on account of a cause. So
Exactly. It's something that I love that I've been able to continue with Coral Restoration Foundation too. We have amazing public programs that we work with students and adults. That's something I really sort of didn't get tons at with MarineLab, is working with adults that, are realizing they really want to be a part of saving the oceans and working in ocean conservation. So yeah, it's been something that I've been able to really hone the skill of reaching out to people, talking to people, and finding out what it is that they love about the ocean, because there's something for everybody.
exactly, and then pushing them, exciting them, driving them down that road and being like, oh, let me help you, let me feed this a little bit. And then all of a sudden we have all these, you call them eco warriors, I don't care what you call them, but they're people that are on our side.
Exactly.
And our side is this side.
Yes.
And if you're not on this side, 60 to 70% of the oxygen is produced in the world's oceans. So figure it out quick that we need this.
Yeah, definitely.
And you guys are transplanting and replanting growing coral, literally growing it, suspended by the trees. I love the trees.
Yes.
I've been to the tree farms. I love it. And then going out to the reef and literally gluing it on.
Exactly, yeah. So Coral Restoration Foundation, the founder, Ken Niedermeyer, is the guy who, with the community of Key Largo and volunteers, invented what is called a coral tree that grows corals much faster than they would just naturally in the wild. They're suspended in the water, they get light and nutrients.
Through the flow.
And yep, through the flow. And then, yeah, we get to scuba dive in and snip off a little piece. It turns into a brand new coral. We get it transplanted out onto the reef. And so far, since our founding, we have returned over 220,000 coral fragments to the wild.
220,000.
220,000.
And when you glue them in place, they literally start proliferating, right? I mean, they start growing, they start multiplying, they keep doing it. They're still alive.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's, tons of ways that you measure success, right? In science, you're always having to, of course, make sure that what you're doing is working. So number one is observationally, right? We can go out to the reef and see that these corals are fusing together, right? They're growing, they're fusing into these thickets. There's fish that are swimming in and out of them, and it's just gorgeous. Then, of course, there's the actual scientific way of monitoring it, and we use what are called photomosaics. And so this is a really cool new technology if anybody is like interested in engineering and how you combine, you know, field work and engineering and all this stuff. Basically, we're going to just be taking hundreds of photos of the reef from a bird's eye view. And then you can actually zoom in onto a single coral or zoom out to see the entire reef. So you're seeing the entire ecosystem and how it grows over time. So we'll take the pictures the day the corals go out to the wild, a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later, and you can see the growth over time.
Right, it's an objective quality measure where you go, okay, look, it was this big and now it's getting this big, this big, this big. No, it's a great way to say, hey, we're doing good things.
Exactly, and we can literally even measure the actual centimeters, meters from those photos.
Oh, that's terrific. But she's absolutely right. This is a perfect way to get you involved in marine science. And preservation, protection, and rejuvenation of the marine environment. You're not a marine scientist at all. You're a person that flies a drone. I assume you're doing it by drones, right?
So we are actually mostly swimming it, but we also use underwater propulsion devices. If you know things of how to use drones, we're looking into it.
You know David.
Yes.
David Cross, right?
Oh, yes.
yes. Right? So, but like something like that, or the ability to mesh all that stuff together, that's all stuff that happens on the surface. You got to take all this video footage and go click, 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 and put all that stuff together. So that photo mosaic is not an easy thing, and it's mathematically oriented and engineering, so science, engineering, mathematics.
Technology, AI is going to be getting involved soon, so
Yet another thing to push everybody into the science, technology, engineering, and math for the preservation of the ocean without being a marine scientist.
Exactly, for sure. And you know, another really important part of that is being able to talk about these kinds of things and get people excited about it. So, you know, we've got a really great internship program that we really love to open to anybody and everyone. We don't need you to have a marine science degree to be part of our internship program, because you're going to be learning the skills from how to do coral restoration, how to, you know, clip the corals and get them to the reef, but you're also going to be learning how to run a nonprofit, how to fundraise for a nonprofit, how to do that mathematical scientific calculation. All of it is important for how these organizations run, and that's a really big part of what our internship program teaches you.
It definitely is, and I really love that. No, the interns run the world, and what we're terming that now, and you've probably heard this before, is citizen scientists.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like, hey, you too can help, right?
Exactly.
And if everybody gets together and does something, then one person doesn't have to do everything, right?
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing. It's like not everybody can be Ken.
My mom
right?
would say, many hands make light work.
There you go. No, that's exactly right. We haven't gone. Well, happy Mother's Day to you and yours. Thank you so much. Thank you for the inspiration for your mom.
So
good meeting you. Good seeing you again.
You as well. Thank you.